Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Smiling Sphinx. In southern Egypt, archaeologists unearthed a sizable sphinx-like statue along with the remains of an ancient shrine. The artifacts were found in the Temple of Dendera, 280 miles from Cairo in the middle of the desert. The Sphinx has proved to be a surprisingly unique artifact because it appears to be smiling. Archaeologists are calling it the Smiling Sphinx and believe its human-like features likely belong to Roman Emperor Claudius. He was the ruler of Rome during the empire's push into North Africa between 41 and 54 AD. The Smiling Sphinx is significantly smaller than the one that stands before the Great Pyramids of Giza. It's only a few feet tall and was found completely buried beneath the desert sand outside the temple. Researchers discovered it while they were clearing out a water storage basin. It looks like the Sphinx statue was ditched inside the basin over 2,000 years ago, then was covered as the pit slowly filled with dirt and sand. The Smiling Sphinx isn't the only monument found to resemble a Roman emperor. Researchers recently found another small sphinx with facial features that resembled Emperor Vespasian, ruler of Rome between 69 and 79 AD. The thing about ancient Egypt was that the Sphinx represented royalty and power. When the Roman Empire took control of Egypt in 30 BC, they took on a lot of the Egyptian customs. They would have control for 600 years, and during that time, they blended Roman and Egyptian culture. This is why there are so many sphinxes with the faces of powerful Romans. What do you think? Do you like that trend? Would you put your head on a sphinx? Let me know in the comments. Number 9. The Smeagol Spider. Something disturbing has been found living in an underground lair. Deep inside a dark and ominous cave in Brazil, scientists identified a blind creature from hell. This creature lurks in the darkness and never ventures out into the sun. It's called Smeagol. Yes, just like the character from Lord of the Rings. It's a newly discovered type of arachnid named after Gollum, aka Smeagol. Researchers recently found the harvestman spider while they were inspecting the limestone cave in southeastern Brazil. Another name for harvestmen is daddy longlegs. These spiders can be found in most people's front yards during the summertime. And although I'm calling them spiders, the truth is that daddy longlegs aren't spiders at all. They are more closely related to scorpions and other rare arachnids like camel spiders. Surprised? I was. Scientists have always known multiple species of harvestmen live underground, but discovering Smeagol came as a huge shock. This is now the only member of the family to have no eyes and be completely blind. The Smeagol spider has been living in the dank underground for so long that it's lost its pigment and its ability to see. This is a process that can happen to any creature that spends enough thousands of years underground without any sunlight. Fun fact, it has really long legs that are about 1.5 inches each. And although that's pretty long, there is another type of harvestman that lives in the caves of Laos and has legs over a foot long. Does this new spider discovery interest you or freak you out? Maybe both? Number 8. Dragon's Eye Cave. Only a handful of people know where the Dragon's Eye Cave is. Locals, explorers, and those who have stumbled upon it by accident have kept the location of the cave secret so that the world doesn't find out about it and mess it up. All we know is that it's located deep in West Lancashire, England, and is only accessible through a small window in the floor. But this entrance is guarded by a group of diligent urban explorers and local residents keen on keeping people away. The cave itself is believed to have formed centuries ago from an old mine shaft. The thing that makes it so impressive is the pattern on the roof of the cave, something that looks like a gigantic dragon's eye. There is a spherical roof that, when the light catches it just right, glints yellow like the eye of a great dragon. It's something that can only be witnessed in person, and only down in the Forbidden Cavern. But even if you manage to break into the cave, you still may not witness the dragon's eye in all its glory. An urban explorer who wishes not to be named recently revealed what it was like searching for the place. Even after they managed to find the entrance and get inside, they nearly missed the eye. They found it only at the last minute, And they also said it looks like the eye formed at the place where the original mine roof collapsed. And now for number 7. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Hutch and Jackie Edward. Thanks so much for watching and supporting Origins Explained. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the family. Number 7. The Temple of Fire. Archaeologists in Peru discovered an underground temple on the outskirts of Lima. Right at the edge of the modern capital city was a temple estimated to be 5,000 years old. The Ministry of Culture said the temple could be one of the oldest ever found in the Americas. It was unearthed at the El Paraíso Archaeological Complex. What makes it truly unique is that researchers have never seen such characteristics in another temple in the region. It's completely different from all local ruins. It looks more like the temples found on the north coast of Peru, or high up in the Andes. Plus, the whole thing was found underground. Little is known about what went on inside the subterranean temple. Archaeologists uncovered a clay pit that may have been used for burning offerings. People may have come from all around to incinerate their personal belongings as gifts or offerings to their gods. And for this reason, archaeologists have named the structure the Temple of Fire. The temple was likely active around 3500 BC during what is known as the late pre-ceramic period. Local archaeologists seem to think the temple points to a complex society living in what is now Lima, with most remnants of their culture currently buried underneath the modern city. Number 6. Amfu Cave. The Marble Mountains of Vietnam is a popular tourist attraction at the city limits of Da Nang, and it's truly something impressive to see. They consist of 5 huge marble mounds that were once mined by sculptors to make Buddhist statues. These sculptors used the marble to craft artifacts, which they would then sell in the surrounding villages. And although marble is now mostly imported from China, the mountains remain where they have been for centuries. It's inside the biggest and most famous of the Marble Mountains, the one called Tuisan, in which you can find Amfu Cave. The cave was discovered in the 19th century and named by King Min Mang. Amfu translates to English as hell. While the marble mountaintops are considered heavenly, the cave within the mountain is full of subterranean caverns that represent the dark side of the afterlife. In 2006, the government opened the dark and spooky passageways to tourists. To make it a truly memorable experience, they filled the cave with demons, frightening monsters, and enough demonic entities to make the place an unforgettable haunted house. Visitors cross a bridge to enter the hellish realm, meant to symbolize passing from their earthly existence into the afterlife. After fighting through caverns of man-eating crocodiles and savage devils, visitors reach a temple shrine deep at the heart of the mountain. This shrine is where those with a heavy heart can confess their sins. And then, finally, visitors ascend a steep stone staircase back into the light. Would you like to visit this creepy cave? Number 5. Beneath the Bog. Cato Fields is an archaeological site in Ireland even older than the Egyptian pyramids. On one side of the site is a steep drop off some dramatic cliffs into the Atlantic Ocean, and on the other side are the rolling green hills of the Irish countryside. It's a small chunk of bogland about 5 square miles between Ballycastle and Belmullet. It looks empty to the untrained eye, but has been the source of some seriously impressive archaeological discoveries. It's from the boggy ground here that researchers have excavated a huge number of lost treasures. They have found religious chalices, lost collections of gold, huge chunks of butter from 2,000 years ago, and the corpses of victims. It's believed this bog was used by ancient Irish societies as a place to give offerings to their pagan gods. People would come from all around to throw their most prized possessions into the swamp, hoping it would gain them favor with whatever gods were popular at the time. But when the community needed to pull together something serious, trinkets weren't enough. It's believed starting about 4,000 years ago, people here began choosing victims to be sacrificed to the bog. Almost every preserved body pulled from one of Ireland's bogs has shown evidence of intense violence. These people were often beaten and butchered before being tied and thrown into the bog. Experts aren't entirely sure, but think it had something to do with ancient rituals. Number 4. Martian Bacteria. Scientists may have just made an amazing discovery underground on another planet. Scientists found that bacteria can live from 280 million years beneath the Martian surface. The discovery is boosting hopes that ancient life will be found on Mars one day, maybe even organisms stuck in suspended animation. Scientists involved in the study found that the bacterium Deinococcus radiodurans is extremely resistant to radiation. It's so resistant that it can handle 280 million years of radiation at 33 feet beneath Mars's dusty surface. The bacterium is so robust, scientists have even found it living in nuclear reactors here on our own planet. Michael Daly from the Uniformed Services University in Maryland said that the bacterium becomes phenomenally radiation resistant in Mars's cold environment. When the bacterium is frozen to around the same temperature of dry ice, it takes on a new level of radioactive immunity. This bacterium is fairly common on our own planet, even found inside human guts. The idea is that even if Mars had living organisms millions of years ago, and they are now dead, this particular bacterium could be alive underground. It would theoretically be able to survive beneath the surface for almost 300 million years. Some scientists have even speculated that if Mars were to be bombarded with enough meteorites, the heat and liquid water released by such impacts could wake dormant bacteria. This could potentially lead to a new bloom of life on the red planet. Number 3. A squirmy millipede. The first real millipede ever found in nature was recently discovered 200 feet beneath the ground in Australia. Scientists found the invertebrate with the most legs of any animal that ever walked the face of the earth. This millipede doesn't have any eyes. It lives in complete darkness deep within the earth, and it has 1,306 legs. That's more legs than any creature that ever evolved over the past 500 million years. The closest specimen that we know of is a millipede that lives near Silicon Valley in California, but it only has 750 legs, not even close to the same number of legs as the newly found millipede. This many-legged monster has been named Eumillipes Persephone after the Greek goddess of the underworld. And even though millipede means 1,000 feet in Latin, this is the first time one with over 1,000 feet has been found. Most millipedes only have a few dozen feet, maybe 100. But things get even creepier. According to study leader Paul Merrick from Virginia Polytechnic Institute, most millipedes begin life with only 8 legs. Then, as they grow, they get more and more legs. There is a chance that this new species of millipede, given enough time, could grow even more legs. It could be that one day we find a double millipede with 2,000 legs. Number 2. Ancient underground cult. In 2017, Turkish authorities foiled a plot to loot an archaeological site. The site was discovered by locals underneath a house in Bazbuk. After police busted up the criminals who had been trying to rob the place, they alerted scientists from the nearby archaeological museum. When archaeologists arrived on the scene, they were shocked to find that underneath the house was a narrow opening leading to an underground chamber over 100 feet long. The chamber led to a huge gallery filled with ancient pieces of artwork from about 2,700 years ago. This was the underground religious complex of an ancient fertility cult. Archaeologist Mehmet Onal from Harran University in Turkey said he was in awe when he realized the place he was standing in. He identified the image of the storm god Hadad drawn on the walls of the underground cavern. This thing was carved from solid stone 100 feet deep, likely between 811 and 783 BC, based on the Neo-Assyrian inscriptions on the walls. This was a time when Neo-Assyrians from Mesopotamia were moving into the region and blending their own culture with the Anatolian culture, and also mixing their gods. Researchers think the construction of an underground temple may have been an attempt by the invading Assyrians to befriend the locals. What's really interesting, though, is that the complex appears unfinished, meaning there may have been a revolt that interrupted construction. The whole place may have been abandoned even before it was used for worship. Number 1. Life beneath Jerusalem. Near the Western Wall in Jerusalem, archaeologists uncovered underground living spaces. The ancient subterranean complex was used in the Second Temple era of Jerusalem, prior to the Roman conquest that occurred in 70 AD. The complex isn't particularly big. It's a small subterranean system of 3 rooms, each one meticulously chiseled by hand out of the solid bedrock. Somebody, long before Jerusalem was beaten down by the Romans, carved their own home out of the rock. Scientists are shocked because this appears to be the first evidence of everyday life being lived under the ancient streets of Jerusalem. Israeli Antiquity Authority co-director called it a unique finding. It's the first time a subterranean system has been found adjacent to the Western Wall. 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, people built their homes out of stone blocks. But people didn't frequently dig their homes out of the solid bedrock. The whole thing is still a pretty big mystery. Researchers aren't sure what the purpose of the underground complex was. It may have been a basement pantry, a low-key living space, a secret place to hide during an invasion, or something else entirely. What would you do if there was an ancient cultic complex hidden underneath your house? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching! Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!